Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I actually get a lot of people messaging me on Facebook and Instagram and leaving comments on my YouTube videos asking me whether they should buy an Evo X or Ralliart, asking questions about the SST and how reliable it is. So I thought today I'd just make a video talking about sort of the pros and the cons of owning an SST equipped car, whether it be the Ralliart, the Evo X. I do get a lot of people messaging me. I have talked about some of these points in previous videos, but I just figured I'd make one video that I can just sort of send people or we'll just answer a lot of the questions that I commonly get asked, as I seem to be one of the only sort of YouTube channels that focuses on the SST transmission. So yeah, we had a Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart Sportback that we just recently sold. We've obviously replaced it with this Evo X MR, and then also I have my black Evo X. So yeah, most of my videos are involved around the SST. I'm definitely no expert. I haven't actually had to get mine rebuilt yet. This one that we picked up was already rebuilt. But yeah, I've been driving and owning SST for over 6 years now, and I've definitely looked into it. I've had many talks with the guys at AK Racing about what needs to be fixed and service intervals and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just thought today, let's make the video, let's just lay it all out. Stuff that I have come across anyway, that just might help someone who's looking at buying one of these cars. So yeah, let's start off with just a bit of a cons list, as there's a lot of horror stories about this transmission. So the first major con of buying one of these cars would be the cost if something goes wrong. Now, we all hear the horror stories about these. I've been lucky, like I said. I've owned my car for 6 years, haven't had to spend any money on the transmission, just servicing. The Lancer Ralliart that we just sold, we owned for around 2 years, same deal, never had a problem. And now this car we've owned only for a couple of months, and obviously we haven't had a problem, but this one did get a rebuild when Alan at AK Racing actually used to own this car a few years back. So yeah, this one also we haven't had any problems with, but a lot of people do, and I'm expecting to rebuild mine in the next sort of 6 months to a year. So that is definitely the major con to these cars. If you buy it and say it's a Lancer Ralliart and you've got it really cheap, and then the gearbox goes wrong, you're looking at anywhere between $3,000 Australian just to get the clutches replaced, up to $10,000 if you want to rebuild everything, go some upgraded clutches and really beef up the gearbox. So that's definitely something you need to be aware of if you're looking at buying one of these, because yeah, if you've bought the car for say $6,000-7,000, something like that, and then you're looking at a $5,000 to $6,000 bill to repair it, it's definitely going to upset a few people. So just want people to be aware that that can happen. The best thing to do is get the car a pre-purchase inspection. So we're really lucky here in Brisbane, we have AK Racing, and they do offer a pre-purchase inspection. We actually got one for this car and found that the gearbox was fine. It was just something wrong with the engine, so it paid for itself. But yeah, they'll do a good gearbox check. They'll check the fluid, see when it's been changed last, and drive it, see if there's any weak points, if the clutches are slipping or anything. So that's something that I'd recommend. If you don't have a shop that can do that for you, then definitely check out my previous video, which was titled What You Need to Know Before Buying an Evo X MR or Lancer Ralliart. As I talk about some of the things that you need to sort of, how you need to drive the car in a test drive to see the condition. And that video, all those points are laid out by Alan at AK Racing, so those are accurate things to do. But yeah, so that's going to be the first major con for the car. Secondly would just be the servicing cost and intervals. I don't see it as that bad, but I know a lot of people need to be made aware that if you buy this car, you can't just thrash it around for a couple of years and expect nothing to go wrong. You do need to service the transmission every between 10 and 30,000 kilometers. I'm not sure what that is in miles, but you can just convert that if you are in a country that uses miles. But yeah, so 10 and 30,000 kilometers on average. Say once a year you need to budget in for that, and that's going to be around $400 to $700 in Australia. Roughly around $600 at most places. You can do that yourself also, which I'm actually about to start doing, which will save me a bit of money, but that will involve changing the fluid, about 8 litres of fluid I believe, and also an external filter, and then just doing a teach-in So there's a program you can download to do that. So if you don't have a shop near you that does service these, then you can definitely start doing it yourself. There is a very handy video that I'll put a link to in the description showing how that's done. And also you can do the teach-ins yourself, which I do myself now. I haven't made a video on that yet. I probably will, but I'll put a link to one in the description. So that will be con number 2. The third thing would be just a little one that I'll bring up a bit, but just the fact that you can't put the car into the main driving mode that I drive it in, which is S Sport mode, while you're already driving. So we just had our meet just on the weekend, and I pulled out of one of our meeting points and only put the car into sport mode. And once I was going on the motorway, I realised I'm actually only in sport. I then can't flick it up into S Sport mode, and as I am worried about my clutches getting worse, we're in a car cruise, everyone's sort of doing little pulls next to each other. I didn't want to do any, so I just sort of cruise along slowly, and so I was only in sport mode. So that's going to be worse on your clutches if you're constantly driving it hard in that mode. But just the fact that you can't get into S Sport mode once you're already driving, it's not a big thing, but yeah, it's just something that I would bring up. It's just a little con. The fourth thing would be just a bit of a delayed takeoff you get compared to when you are operating the clutch yourself. With this, it does have clutches, so if you're at a complete stop and you want to take off, it's going to have a bit of a delay. Like, it has to slowly release the clutch, and it's a bit of a pain at the start. When I first got my car, it did kind of annoy me a bit. We're used to manuals where I can just sort of let go of the clutch and I'm completely in control of this. It does have a slight delay. I've driven other dual clutch gearboxes which don't really have that, so I think it's more of an SST thing. They all seem to do a little bit, but it's not the biggest deal. But yeah, it's definitely something that I thought I'd put in my list. And last con for the car would just be dealing with the whole drama and hate you get from people when you explain that you own an MR or a Ralliart and that it's an automatic Evo and all that sort of stuff. Obviously it doesn't worry me. I proudly tell people that I drive the automatic Evo, the SST. I don't mind calling it automatic at all. I know some people get upset at me for saying that, but that's what it is classed as in Australia. So yeah, you get people, other Evo GSR owners that have the manual, that they'll talk a lot of crap about the SST, and then even more so you get the Evo 1 to 9 owners who will try and pull the whole, it's not even a real Evo, it doesn't have the 4G63, and then you go and tell them I actually also have the SST equipped, so it's not even a manual, then they will really have a go at you. So it's all in good fun with a lot of people, but I know some people get a bit upset when they get poked fun at for driving an automatic Evo. I personally don't care, I prefer it. I've driven both, I had a chance to buy both, and we've picked the SST both times. So that's going to be the main list of cons for the car, and I'm fine with all of those, to be honest. That's obviously why we've just purchased our second Evo 10, so both are SST. So let's go into the things that I really like about this transmission. So number one would just be the super fast gear changes. They are lightning quick, way quicker than I can shift with a manual, way quicker than a conventional automatic, and it makes the car a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll put a clip now of the car driving and going through a few gears, upshifts and downshifts. Okay, and the second pro for the SST in my mind would be the fact that it just has launch control built in. I haven't launched this car yet, as it's actually not mine, it is my partner's car, Letitia's. So I launched my car probably 5 times, I guess, over the first 2 years that I owned it. Didn't do it often enough. It did it often enough that I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. And now my car obviously has the spark cut launch control, so it's even easier to use. But they come with it from factory. It's a bit of a pain to get into, but you can use it and it is a lot of fun. It makes the car quite quick on takeoffs. So yeah, that'd be a big plus because it's a lot of fun to use. And this car has actually been launched probably 100 times, to be honest. The previous owner for us. Took it to the drag strip a lot. He was trying to get into the the mid 11 second quarter mile time, I think it was, but he ended up getting an 11.81, and he went to the drag strip a lot before he achieved that time. Had to sort of perfect the car and modified it along the way, so it's been launched a lot and it still drives perfectly. So yeah, that's definitely something that I love about the car. I wish I could put a video right now of using the launch control, but I do not want to do that, not in my car, just in case something goes wrong. And we've already have to pay to rebuild my SST in my car. I don't want to break anything on this one, just to be safe, I'll leave that off. The next thing that I think is definitely a plus for the SST is just the amount of different ways you can drive it. So if you do want to just be lazy and you just want to put it in auto mode and just keep off the throttle and not drive it really hard and aggressively, you can just leave it in automatic mode. I don't do it often, like I said in the previous video when I showed the different modes of it driving. I will put a link to that video, it's one I recently made. But yeah, there is the different ways you can drive it. There's, obviously automatic or manual mode, then you can use the paddles in manual mode, or you can use the gear stick. And then there's obviously normal mode, sport mode, and S-Sport mode, which I talked about previously. Number 4 would be the fact that it's still really engaging to drive. It doesn't get boring. I have owned an automatic car before. It was a V8 Holden Commodore, and I pretty much hated it about 3 days after I bought it. It was just so boring. It was conventional, just conventional automatic, 4-speed, and it was not fun at all. It was fun for about a day, did a few sort of launches with it, did a few burnouts, and then after that I just hated it. I wanted to go back to the 6-speed manual that I traded it in for, and I actually ended up doing that. Didn't keep the car for long. It was just boring. Whereas this, with the paddles, and even I've driven other cars that were automatic that had paddles, it's not the paddles that make it fun, it's the dual clutch part of it. It's actually having the fact that the paddles operate as soon as you touch them. As soon as you hit that paddle, it's going to change the gear. And I know in a lot of my videos, with the GoPro recording, it kind of has a bit of a delay on the sound, so it may look like it's not as instant as it is. But let me tell you, when you're driving the car, your upshifts and your downshifts, they're instant. And it's always, once you're in manual mode, it's always you in control of which gear you're in. So yeah, I find it engaging, I find it a lot of fun. If you're just going mid-corner and you're thinking, oh, I want to downshift here, you just hit that paddle, you don't have to take your hands off the wheel, especially if you have paddle extenders, so the paddles come down all the way. So yeah, I find it a lot of fun to drive and very engaging. Obviously a manual's going to be the next level, because then you've got your clutch. That's going to give you full control of the car. But I still, for what it is, find it to be a lot of fun to drive, and doesn't really get boring to me. Even after 6 years, I haven't sold my car and missed manual enough that I wanted to go get another one. So yeah, that's going to be number 4. And lastly on my list is having the extra gear. So the SST is a 6-speed transmission, whereas the GSR manual Evo 10s, they come with a 5-speed. Now, apparently I've got a friend who has the 5-speed, and he says it's the better gearbox than the 6-speed it was in the earlier Evos. He's owned all of them, he tracks his car, but having the extra gear on the motorway, for me personally, after coming from a 6-speed manual, having the 6-speed auto 4-cylinder, it does make it just that bit better for a daily driver. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the video there. Really hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. So hopefully anyone who's looking at buying one of these cars that sends me messages, this video will answer a lot of those questions. And then it's basically up to you. I get a lot of people saying to me, this is the car, this is the amount of kilometers, this is the history, would you buy it? And it's kind of hard to say. It's up to you. You just have to take into consideration the risks that you're running buying this transmission, as it can go wrong and it can be costly. If you're aware of that and that's fine, and you don't mind having a few $1,000s spare, then yeah, definitely, because if you drive it, you'll find it's a lot of fun, which I do anyway. But if it's not worth the risk to you, then maybe you just go with the manual transmission option. But yeah, so I figured I'd make the video just because I get this question a lot, like I said, and I figured it'd be helpful. It's definitely something that, again, I always try and make videos that I would have wanted to watch before I bought my car, if I was looking at buying it. And you know, obviously making YouTube videos means I watch a lot of YouTube videos as well from other channels, so I really like whenever I'm buying a part, I'm researching it, I'm Googling it, I'm watching videos on it. So yeah, I want my channel to be something that other people can do that with. It'll be something that they can search. If they're looking at buying this car, they'll find this video and hopefully it's helpful. That's the aim anyway for my channel a lot of the time. So yeah, hopefully it is helpful to someone. Hopefully it's entertaining enough. Put a few driving clips in there that hopefully doesn't make it too boring of me just sitting in front of the car talking. But yeah, if you did enjoy, make sure you put a like down below. It would really help the channel, and it would really help this video get shared around more. As if you're watching the videos, that's great, I really appreciate it. If you then can like the video, just put the thumbs up and put a comment down below. That really shows YouTube that the video is getting engagement, and they'll share it to more people. So I would always appreciate if you could do that. And then lastly, obviously, if you enjoy the content and want to see more Evo 10 and Ralliart style videos like this, installs, tips and tricks and driving videos, then definitely consider subscribing to my channel. That would also be greatly appreciated. But yeah, with all that out of the way, it'll be the end of the video there, and I'll catch you guys later.